Around 8 years ago, Red Bull made headlines by announcing that youngster Max Verstappen would make his Formula One debut with Toro Rosso. At the time, the defending world champion was only 17 years old. By taking part in free practice for the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka, he became the sport's youngest driver. Verstappen's remarkable ascension became the talk of the town, despite the fact that he had yet to complete his rookie single-seater racing season and had never driven an F1 vehicle before. Opinions were divided on whether he was ready for the highest level at such a young age. His current success in the sport is the result of his cumulative efforts since his F1 debut. For Max Verstappen, winning was more essential than qualifying in youth racing. His raw, underlying speed was what won races, but as he acquired experience and mastered the discipline required for a Grand Prix weekend, he was able to put together qualifying as well. His experience with Daniel Ricciardo exemplified his development. Ricciardo is a fantastic qualifier, and he held the lead at first, but Verstappen caught up to him later on. Keeping an eye on Verstappen's qualifying on boards throughout 2019 shows that he was still a little scrappy at times and was not always putting things together. He regularly makes minor errors when braking, preventing him from completing a full lap. But when he does get it together, he is really quick. There have been times when he has left possible pole positions on the table, such as in Monaco and Mexico in 2018.
Max Verstappen, is it pole today? No, he misses out!
But he has matured since then. You could argue that minor inconsistency is also due to the fact that during this period of Red Bull's history, he has frequently been relegated to the third row regardless of what happens. So he puts it on the line to try to outperform, knowing the consequences will be not starting in the best position. Verstappen has always been a driver capable of winning races, but he has developed his game in F1 to the point where he can compete with Hamilton. He, like Hamilton, is capable of overcoming a tempo deficit and performing overtaking maneuvers at vital periods, allowing him to progress from strength to strength. There was a time when he appeared to be frantic, or at the very least impatient, in race scenarios, but he has since calmed down. As team principal Christian Horner once stated, seeing Verstappen in your car's mirrors is a matter of when rather than if he will pass you. What is evident is that he has never been intimidated by anyone. He knows he belongs at the front of F1, and he has been preparing for it his whole life. He has become more calculated, not losing his aggression, but gaining patience and the ability to make a decisive move. He is always in the proper location when it comes to wheel-to-wheel racing. Verstappen has also learned how to avoid asking too much of his opponent while passing, but his judgment is not always ideal. However, he frequently strikes the ideal balance of accuracy and aggressiveness. As a Max Verstappen fan, you must be enjoying our video thus far. Please like the video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to get notified when we add new videos in the future. Verstappen's strength was also on display as soon as he joined Red Bull, with Verstappen winning in Spain on a two-stop strategy on his debut with the company. He worked hard at Toro Rosso to master tyre management, and he completed that race flawlessly. And he has built on that over time. Verstappen has a clear understanding of the dynamics of driving and is able to translate that into giving strong and precise feedback to the team. Often we do hear him complaining over the radio, but that reflects his sensitivity. His clear-headedness extends to his understanding of what the car is doing and the clarity of communication with his race engineer. His answers are always clear and concise, and that gives his engineer exactly what he needs from the driver.
Mate, this is the only chance I'm being close to Mercedes and not just sitting behind like a grandma.
It's a good balance that helps Verstappen to be consistent and relentlessly fast. Honda also appreciates the precision of the technical feedback it gets from Verstappen. This gives it information that can be applied trackside to give it instant improvement as well as longer-term gains. In return, Verstappen appreciates Honda's attention to the finer details, right down to its wiring arrangement. He'll often complain about power delivery or the feel of the car under braking, but Verstappen doesn't let the shortcomings inhibit him. Red Bull plays a big part in this as well. This was the team that got the best out of Sebastian Vettel, who has struggled to recreate his form in the Ferrari environment, where he has been left to find his own way. It requires both sides to work to build that rapport. Verstappen has also benefited from being elevated to being Red Bull's undisputed number one. He's the future of the team, and as the driver, those in the team gravitate around. The way he interacts with the engineering team is very encouraging, and last year we saw Pierre Gasly in particular struggle to break through in the same way. A novice to Formula One may imagine Verstappen to be less powerful and established than someone like Hamilton, but he's certainly getting there as he matures. Like so many, he does have that with me or against me mentality sometimes. But overall, he's become much better at keeping his emotions in check and channeling setbacks, such as he did in recovering from that disastrous start in Austria in 2019. That said, he did also make errors at the start of Spa and Monza in 2019. He was a little behind where he thought he should have been, which was caused by a combination of not playing the percentages and getting caught out by how slowly a Grand Prix field at the back goes. But Verstappen is only going to get stronger, and the core belief in him and his ability is supreme, just as it was with Hamilton. He recovered from the problems of 2018 and emerged from it a stronger driver. Sometimes that means he doesn't back down when he should, but those cases are becoming rarer, and his level of performance is always sustained. This does sometimes manifest itself as a refusal to admit he has made a mistake when he clearly has, but that's not unusual for a driver of this type. Nothing can be allowed to permeate that supreme self-belief. When he had his run of mistakes in early 2018, he kept denying he either had or needed to change his approach. Although once the dust had settled towards the end of the season, he did concede. He made changes, and he's now a better version of himself. This maturity gave him the opportunity to outperform the best drivers on the grid. Red Bull also, through that period, tried to help him stand on his own 2 feet and become more self-sufficient. Since 2020, Max Verstappen's star has only been rising. Under extreme pressure, he overcame the fearsome Lewis Hamilton, a 7-time world champion. Verstappen's spectacular run in 2021 and 22, human mistake or not, cements his place among the F1 greats. Max Verstappen's competitors include Charles Leclerc, George Russell, and even Hamilton. Though he may have benefited from Adrian Newey's magnificent Red Bull vehicles, his sheer brilliance in driving the car to victory merits its own praise. It is no minor achievement for a driver to start P20 on the grid and come out on top at the end of the race. On the grid, he is decisive and authoritative, providing him an advantage in taking the lead. The Dutchman understands that he must push extremely hard to win, and he has done so since the 2016 F1 Spanish GP. Over the last 7 years, he has managed the strain of being a Red Bull driver well, establishing his worth as a pilot and playing a key role in the team's recovery to number 1. To lay the facts, Daniel Ricciardo, Daniel Kvyat, Carlos Sainz, Pierre Gasly and Alex Albon all departed or were fired from their Red Bull seats after failing to match either Max Verstappen or worse, Red Bull standards. The Austrian unit wants its drivers to adjust quickly and routinely finish in the points. Some of these drivers were granted only 6 months and were relegated to sister teams in the middle of the season. None of these drivers have ever returned to Red Bull, with only Perez being Max Verstappen's best teammate thus far. The Dutchman, on the other hand, has always kept the car under control, regardless of its construction. Regardless of his automotive problems, he always comes out on top. Horner says Max Verstappen's performances in Formula 1 thus far are hugely outstanding, given the Dutchman's relatively young age. Horner feels Verstappen's title victory last season relieved him of an awful amount of pressure, allowing him to pursue the balance of his career as he sees fit. The Briton told the Associated Press before the 2022 F1 French Grand Prix, "What Max has achieved so far in his career is hugely impressive, and I'm sure he's going to build on that. I think having achieved that first title removes an awful lot of pressure, but at the same time, it fuels hunger. He's hungrier than ever and driving better than ever." Horner believes the Dutchman is unlikely to break Hamilton's excellent records very soon. He went on to say, "What Lewis has achieved is incredible, and it's difficult to envisage those records being broken. So much depends on the equipment that you have." Will Max Verstappen be able to dominate Formula 1 for the next few years? Please let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss any of our incredible videos. Keep an eye out for the next video. Bye for now.